Happy Tuesday from Houston, Texas. Welcome to Stellar Parenting. I am your host, Brandi. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I also hold a Master of Science degree in psychology with an emphasis in child and adolescent development. And I'm super passionate about helping parents, helping teachers, helping guardians learn how to combine the magic of the stars with the art of consciously raising children. Please visit my website at brandicon.com to learn more about me, or to book a natal chart session or a natal chart session for your child. I can help you understand exactly how they are wired and how you can custom design your own approach to parenting. So here in Houston today, just a heads up, we are having heavy gusts of wind, and I've lost electricity 5 times in the last 20 minutes, but we are going to cross our fingers and hope that we get through this, because I have some fun, exciting stuff today to share with you. So I'm going to be sharing some astrological insights about President Volodymyr Zelensky from Ukraine. And then I also have information about the transits that we have for this week. And then we will have time for a caller. So if you'd like to have a tarot reading, please call in. I'd love to hear from you. All right, so let's get started. A lot of fun information to share with you. So on Friday, last Friday, February 28th, Volodymyr Zelensky, president of Ukraine, visited the White House to meet with President Trump. And as most of you have probably seen from video footage, the meeting did not go well, and it devolved into a shouting match. And afterward, President Trump asked President Zelensky to leave the White House, and there was no deal or agreement that was reached between the two parties. So as an American, I have seen on social media that some of my fellow Americans are pleased with the actions of our president because they feel like he was acting in the best interests of our country. However, the vast majority of people that I have seen on social media who voiced their opinions are disappointed with the way that President Zelensky was treated by President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. And yesterday, President Trump did order a pause on all military aid coming from the U.S. going to Ukraine, which leaves the future of Ukraine in a state of uncertainty right now. So I really wanted to know more about President Zelensky, and I've been looking at his natal chart, and there are some interesting things there that I think that you would all enjoy learning about him. I'm really interested in his childhood and in the people who shaped him and how that led him to become the person that he is today. So just to tell you a little bit about him, Volodymyr Zelensky was born on January 25th, 1978, which makes him 47 years old right now. His sun is in the sign of Aquarius. He was elected president of Ukraine in 2019 when he won the election with 73% of the vote. He was born into a Ukrainian Jewish family, and his father was a professor of technical sciences, and his mother cared for him full-time as a boy. Now, his father had really high expectations when it came to education and when it came to hard work. And in school, Zelensky was a pretty good student. He was a good student. He was a class leader. And in school, he also participated in weightlifting, basketball, and even at one point in time, ballroom dancing. He even mastered playing the piano and the guitar. So he's, quite talented. Zelensky also loved to perform on stage, but he thought that his future after high school was really going to be in the field of diplomacy. So therefore, after finishing high school, he decided to study law. Okay, he earned his law degree, but he realized that he was in the wrong field. When he walked into a courtroom, he knew that that was not where he belonged. So even though his father wanted him to practice law because it was a good, solid career, Zelensky decided to pursue a career in comedy and entertainment instead of practicing law. He created his own production company, and he played a fictional Ukrainian president on one of the network's TV series before he was actually elected president of Ukraine. It's so interesting. So now let's take a look at some of the aspects of his chart. So let's talk about Zelensky's big three, which are his sun, moon, and rising. So Zelensky is a Gemini rising. His sun is in the sign of Aquarius, like I mentioned earlier, and his moon is in the sign of Leo. So let me take a moment to explain to you how the sun, moon, and rising sign are all different from each other. So when we're talking about the rising sign, we're talking about the sign that was on the ascendant at the time that you were born. And the rising sign signifies how we come across to other people, how other people see us, how we interact with others in the world, how we handle transactions. That's our rising sign. The sun in astrology symbolizes our identity, our ego, our self-concept, our self-confidence. And the moon is all about our feelings, our emotions, our level of sensitivity, and intuition. So with Zelensky being a Gemini rising, this really gives him the ability to be quite light and funny and inquisitive. And as I was watching videos of him before he actually became president of Ukraine, back when he was, acting in his TV series, he seemed like a completely different person. It seemed as if the light, funny side, that was what was most apparent in his disposition. But since the ruler of his ascendant, the ruler of Gemini is Mercury, we have to take a look at where his Mercury is located and in what sign in his chart. He's got Mercury in the 8th house in the sign of Capricorn. Now, Mercury in Capricorn can also come across and communicate in a very serious manner and in a very authoritative manner. So it's not all light-hearted feelings and jokes all of the time. There's also this really deep, serious side to Zelensky as well, and the way that he comes across. With his sun in the sign of Aquarius, this makes him someone who really marches to the beat of his own drum. Now, if you've got your sun in Aquarius, I wonder if you'll understand this. Rebellion is really an important part of having major placements in Aquarius or having an Aquarius sun. And I've heard from parents who have children who have their sun in the sign of Aquarius. And a lot of times these are the children who push back, who want to do things a different way, who kind of want to go their own path and not do so much what's dictated for them to do. And Sun in Aquarius people really emphasize the ideas of freedom and equality in an ideal society. They also tend to be quite intelligent, even brilliant, with some level of eccentricity. They just seem to be different than a lot of people, and they don't mind staying in their own individual energy and not conforming to the group. Now, with the moon in Leo, the moon is all about our emotions, our feelings. So when we place the moon in the fire sign of Leo, Zelensky can be quite passionate and quite lively when he's speaking about how he feels. Leo is the sign of center stage, and this is really a nod to Zelensky's time as a performer when he was actually on stage, where he was actually in front of the camera. But Leo is also the sign of leaders. And being in a leadership position is probably emotionally fulfilling to him on some level. Pride is also very important for people with strong Leo placements, especially the moon in Leo. People with their moon in Leo, even sun in Leo, they do not like to be embarrassed, and they do not like to feel humiliated. They do not like to feel as if someone is talking down to them. You're not going to, to get a lot of positive energy from them if you're making them feel as if they are a subordinate to you. And it's really interesting with Zelensky, not only is his moon in the sign of Leo, he also has Mars, the planet of action in Leo, and Saturn as well. So, these three planets, Moon, Mars, and Saturn, all in the sign of Leo, that's the strong mark of leadership in his chart. Now, I want to go back and talk about Mercury in Capricorn because this is the ruler of his entire natal chart. Mercury is the planet of communication. And when we put Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, not only is Zelensky, or not only does he have the potential to be really good when it comes to logical thinking and creating systems, but since his Mercury is in the 8th house, which is it's a water house, the house of mystery, he also probably has a very high level of sensitivity, probably has very strong intuition. And he probably knows right away when someone is not being honest with him or when they are trying to manipulate him. And that comes with the territory of the 8th house. And I wish I could hear from you guys. And those of you who have personal planets, Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury in the 8th, has that been your experience? What I've always heard is it's like they have an inner lie detector. They know right away when someone's not being honest with them. So those are just some of the highlights from Zelensky's chart. And, it gives you a level of understanding of why he is the way that he is, why he may react the way that he reacts. And it just adds a whole nother dimension to the situation that we could see on Friday. I feel that when you understand how someone is wired, when you understand their psychology, instead of looking at them from a place of judgment, we can look more from a place of compassion and understanding. So let's go to our transits for this week. We have some important changes with Mercury this week, and it may have an impact on the way that you communicate with others and the way that you process information. And there will be one day this week that would be absolutely perfect for taking the initiative and starting something new or doing some type of physical activity. So as we're moving into our discussion about the transits, I just want to mention many people want to know, why is it beneficial to know about the transits? Like, what good is that going to do me? And I'll share my perspective with you. Each of us has the power to create our own reality. We all have been gifted with the amazing power to manifest. But so many people are not consciously creating their reality. And because of that, they get caught up in the intentions of other people, in the energy of other people, because they're not directing their own energy. And, none of us, we are not here to drift aimlessly through life and to be at the mercy of other people. We are here, each one of us, to lead magical lives. And this begins with using the planetary energy that is given to you each week in intentional and conscious ways. And because I love sports, I'm going to use a sports analogy here to really help you understand this. Imagine that I'm your coach and I'm giving you a playbook. And in this playbook, there's a list of plays for our upcoming game. And it's up to you to figure out how you want to run the plays. How are you going to execute these plays? Also in the playbook, there are strategies that will help you to execute the plays successfully. But ignoring the strategies makes it more difficult to have a winning play. So in the same way, the list of plays in your playbook, these are your transits for the week. And the strategies that I give also help you to live the highest expression of each transit. And if you're not using the energy intentionally, there's a higher probability that you will be using the energy in its lowest form or lowest expression. So really use this information not only for your benefit, but for the benefit of your children as well. Be the parent who is creating consciously and not living in a heightened state of reaction. So yesterday on Monday, March 3rd, something significant happened. We had Mercury, the planet of communication, leave the water sign of Pisces and enter the fire sign of Aries. So Mercury is the planet of communication and the intellect. And in the fire sign of Aries, Mercury is passionate and Mercury is direct. And Mercury can be very upfront and outspoken about what it feels, because Mercury wants its voice to be heard. And for this reason, Mercury can be quite impulsive. But when I intuitively feel into the energy of Mercury and Aries, I'm clairaudient, and that's how I receive some of my intuitive information. I literally heard the phrase, all systems go. All systems go. So that's like the motto for Mercury and Aries. So Mercury is ready to proceed full force in one direction and to make decisions very quickly. And Mercury and Aries can be inspirational and motivational, but it can also be quite reckless and impulsive with the way that energy is expressed, the way the energy is spoken. So keep this in mind for your children. For the next 4 weeks while Mercury is in the sign of Aries, if they express the shadow side of Aries, it's our responsibility to gently guide them back to a state of balance. On Wednesday, March 5th, tomorrow, Mercury will be at 3 degrees of Aries, sextile Pluto at 3 degrees of Aquarius. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication and processing, and in Aries, Mercury is driven toward action. Let's look at Pluto. Pluto is the planet of power, of transformation, of purification. So these two together, this aspect can give you the desire to know everything that's hidden beneath the surface. So don't be surprised tomorrow if your child all of a sudden wants to know about the family history that nobody talks about, okay? This transit kind of gives that drive to know what's hidden, what's in the closet, what's behind the curtain. It can also lead to deep thinking and conversations that can transform, and breakthroughs with limiting patterns in thinking are also possible. This is an absolutely fabulous aspect for problem solving, finding solutions, and research, because it gives a boost to our mental processes, but it can also make us feel a little bit inflexible about what we know, and not really trying to see the perspective or the viewpoint of the other person that we may be interacting with. But this is great energy for speaking aloud our boundaries. And on this day tomorrow, you may feel drawn to reading or learning about psychology or astrology or even anything dealing with healing. So keep that in mind. And on Saturday, March 8th, our last transit for this week, we'll have the sun at 17 degrees of Pisces, trining Mars 17 degrees of Cancer. Now in astrology, the sun represents our life force, our vitality, our identity and willpower. And in the sensitive and gentle water sign of Pisces, the sun is revitalized and energized through acts of compassion, through transcendence, through creativity. And Mars is the planet of action and energy. And Mars in the water sign of Cancer is motivated to nurture and protect family and homeland. But keep in mind, Mars is still out of bounds until April 7th, which means that Mars has a declination greater than 23 degrees and 27 minutes north or south, and that increases the energy of Mars. So again, using a sports analogy, think of a basketball court with players from opposing teams on the court, okay? And we've got spectators or fans in the stands. And everyone outside of the court is out of bounds, okay? They don't have to follow the rules and regulations of the players who are in bounds or who are playing in the game. So, the spectators, the fans, they can eat popcorn, they can eat cotton candy, they can yell at the opposing team, right? And in the same way, Mars out of bounds is emboldened to act more assertively, energetically, and aggressively right now. But this supportive aspect between the sun and Mars should be very motivating, should give you a burst of energy. It should inspire you to take the initiative with something, to begin a new project. Okay. This duo will really set the stage for action behind compassion. Action behind compassion, doing something compassionate, doing something kind for someone else. Taking action or participating in physical activity is recommended on Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because I mentioned the burst of energy, vitality, and you want to make sure that you're channeling that energy in a constructive way. All right. So please remember this for your children as well. They are very sensitive. They are probably going to feel and experience this energy. So get them outside, get them moving, let them burn this energy off constructively, because we don't want sibling arguments and disagreements on Saturday. Okay. All right. So that's the transits for this week. Now we have our caller, Rosie, calling from Ireland. Hi, Rosie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we've got a few minutes. We'll do it real quick. Would you mind a tarot spread? Is that okay? A general tarot spread?
Brilliant.
Okay, great. Okay. I'm going to do one more shuffle here. And Rosie, I want you to tell me when to stop.
Okay.
Okay, stop there. Let's see what Rosie's got going on. Okay. Okay. So Rosie, the card that I'm seeing, like that's showing maybe something that's going on in your life, has there been a situation where you're wondering if someone has been dishonest, if someone is doing something and trying to hide it? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what pops up for me right now, like as I guess what the energy is really wanting to point to. This person, someone else, probably not being the most honest with either what they're saying to you or with their actions, okay? Now, what I'm seeing is in the situation with this person, though, there's been a lot of hard work. Like I feel like that this is either a relationship or a friendship that has spanned over a period of time. Does that make sense? Yeah. And there's been a lot of hard work. And I feel like that you've really been trying to be the best version of you. And you've been trying to see the best. And you've been trying to manifest the best. Okay. But what I'm feeling over the next 2 weeks, there will be a decision you have to make. There's something that comes to light. There's something that you become aware of that's staring you right in the face that you really are not going to be able to ignore. And there's a decision to make. Okay. Okay. At that point in time, I really want you to listen to your intuition. Listen to what you are feeling. Listen to your body. Listen to your gut, okay? And don't allow your mind to talk you out of how you're feeling or what your intuition is telling you, okay?
Okay.
Now, now over the next 4 weeks, after there's that decision, there's the potential that you could decide this is not working in the way that I would like for it to work anymore. And I'm tired of expending my energy in this way. Okay. There's the potential that you could make that decision if things don't shift before then. But I know that I do have the card. I have the 8 of Cups, which signifies walking away from something that's really not serving my highest good anymore. Does this make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what I am seeing, another external factor that's playing into this situation, we do have the 5 of Wands, which is conflict. Okay. So there's conflict. It doesn't even feel like maybe it's just with one person. It feels like it could be with more than one person. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of conflict as well that's influencing this situation. But what I
Okay.
absolutely love, your personal power card shows me that right now, what you've got in your favor or what's working in your favor, I do feel that there have been different friends, different people who have stepped forward to support you or to be supportive or to listen during this time. Do you
Yeah.
understand that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's that's your personal power card right there. It shows me that right now, that's the one aspect that may really help you to work through this situation and get through this situation. What I
Okay.
love the outcome. The outcome, we've got the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands is a card of celebration, of and this almost feels like, oh, I was able to overcome. So, this situation was difficult for me, but look, I was able to overcome, and I'm on the other side of
Yeah.
this, and I can see the meaning, and I can see why things happened the way that they did. And from this vantage point of where I can see, I have appreciation for what happened. That makes sense to you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Yeah, and it's hard to appreciate a situation or circumstances when you're going through something difficult. But it looks as if this is actually going to work in your favor, because the answer card that we have is the Judgment card. And whenever I see the Judgment card, I know that there's the feeling of someone being called or being made accountable for their actions. Okay.
Okay.
So, whatever's being done in the dark that you will become aware of with this other party that we've been talking about, I don't feel as if it goes unaddressed. I do feel that there will be
Okay.
consequences for actions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. But it
Okay.
looks like things work out for you in the long run. Okay, Rosie?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you for calling in. I hope you have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. And thank you, everyone, for joining me today. It's been a fabulous show. And I just want to remind you, like I do at the end of every show, the stars may guide us, but we hold the power to shape our destiny. So keep shining your light bright, keep radiating light all throughout this week. And I will see you here again next week.